People tell stories every day, to themselves, to others, and they probably don't even realise they're doing it. The stories people tell allow them to explain to others and reaffirm to themselves about their behaviours, their decisions, and the success they experience. Everybody does it. Yeah, me too. My name's David Kerm, and I'm an executive and leadership coach and consultant, and I work with leaders just like you to understand the relationship between your choices, your behaviours, and ultimately your success. Throughout my life, I've been told I'm a great storyteller because I narrate my experience in an engaging and believable way. This includes empowering stories that define my relationship with success, and also stories that diminish my experience. What I've learnt about the stories that we tell about ourselves is that we're defined by them, and we're often controlled by them. It's important to know that where some of those stories can be empowering, others are not, and can be the roadblock to achieving the success you want or deserve. Henry Ford is quoted to have said, "If you think you can, or you think you can't, you're right. And this is a story you've told yourself." The good news is that we have the ability to rewrite those stories. Let's take a moment to understand them in a little more detail. Stories have been used since time began to entertain, to interest, to educate, to share experience, to warn others. A story can be an account of the life of past events, of imaginary or real people. It can tell a chain of events. It can spread rumour, share the truth, can tell a lie, whether it be intentional or otherwise. Religious texts are stories containing lessons filled with the narrative of that belief structure. These are open to interpretation either by group or individual, and the purpose goes on and on. It's one of the oldest ways people have used to communicate with each other, and it's one of the oldest ways in which ideas or beliefs have been maintained individually or shared with others over time. What many people don't realise is that their stories are an integral part of who they are, how they show up in the world, and often people don't even know that they're living according to the stories they tell. It's important, therefore, to be aware of the story you are telling yourself and make it an empowering one. Why do I need to understand this? Telling a story is part of how your mind works. Your memories are fragments of what's occurred that's been stored by your mind and constructed as an interpretation for it to be relived and retold. When your connection to your story is strong and it's tightly connected to your identity, then the story becomes something that you hold tightly to as though it's part of you. Our interpretation of memory is why two people can witness the same event and have a different perspective of what actually happened. The reasons for this are many and often complicated, but it can be boiled down to this. Our minds construct our experience based on the series of filters which include our values, our beliefs, our attitudes, our memories, and our decisions. We can make the leap that a person's memory is a large part of what defines them, and therefore we're defined by our stories. This is both a positive and negative thing, and whilst it can give you a strong sense of purpose and self, your connection to a disempowering story can equally define you in terms that may be disempowered, or your connection to an old story may have you behaving in a way that no longer serves you. Your stories define your beliefs, shape how you interpret events, and they'll ultimately define your response to challenges and opportunities you are faced with. So why would you want to change a story that's defined you for such a long time? Often stories lead you to a place in your life, whether they be empowered or disempowered. It may have been the identity you had of yourself that enabled you to survive difficult or even impossible circumstances, or it may have been the identity that allowed you to achieve the success that you have in your life up to that point. Those less empowering stories are the ones that have you thinking in a way that limit you in your behaviour or your complexity of thinking. They are the ones that justify or reaffirm to you the existence of roadblocks that prevent you from achieving what you want for yourself, for your career, and for your family. They represent the limiting decisions and subsequently the limiting beliefs you have about your capabilities. The reason to let go of or rewrite parts of your story is because those parts may just be the roadblock that now holds you back from taking the next step or behaving in a way that's empowered. Letting go of a story or rewriting one may be important for you to grow either personally or professionally. So you decided that you need to tell a different story. Well, my advice to you is to speak to a coach, someone that's trained to work with people and support people in this area. Working with a coach will give you the best opportunity to pivot to growth and subsequently greater success. Now, I understand that engaging a coach is not the type of commitment that some people are ready to make for themselves, and I would even go so far as to suggest that most people take better care of growth of others than they do for themselves. If this is you, then I ask you to do this for yourself. Take some time, and in the context of an area of concern you may have, consider the following. What need does this current experience serve for you? Everything we do is for a reason, to serve a need that we have, whether it be conscious or unconscious, and that reason serves a particular outcome. What aspects of this area of concern are empowering you? These are often empowering aspects to an experience that is ultimately disempowering, meaning that not every aspect of the story needs to be disposed of. When you think about how you want your experience to be, what aspects would you leave behind? Take some time to learn about the disempowering aspects of your beliefs and behaviours and consider what you're ready to leave behind. If you are the type that takes action, then contact me directly to discuss the success you've achieved, the success you desire to achieve, and what might lie between those two. I hope the last few minutes have been beneficial for your use of time. Until we speak, I wish you continued success and have an outstanding day.